Hey guys, Josh here with the 87 F250. I wanted to do this video for a while. I get a lot of people asking me about the swap, what work's involved, how hard is it, all what I had to do and everything. But for those of you that don't know, this is an 87 F250 body. It sits on a 2004 F250 frame. It's got a 6-liter Powerstroke, ZF6 manual trans, disc brakes all around, obviously Super Duty axles. This is a crew cab short bed 04 frame, and it's an extended cab long bed body. So people might ask, like, how the hell did you fit that on a crew cab short bed frame? Well, I guess I'm about to show you. First I want to get down to how all this started. It all started with this truck here. It's been sitting in the driveway. Wheels are covered in brake dust, whatever. Cleans up really nice. Anyway, this is an 05 Dodge Ram. I've had this truck for 6 years now. Bought it with 155,000 miles. Michigan winters haven't exactly been nice to it, so last year I started taking the steps to restore it, and now it's all redone, and that led to this. So what had happened with this truck, I went down to Alabama and got a donor. I bought an 02 1500 4.7 truck for $700. I used it as a cab donor. I used the cab and the doors that are on this truck now. I sold the bed and the tailgate for $1,200, so the cab and the doors actually paid for themselves. So I got everything painted, I got a bed, I got everything done. All said and done, I probably put $14,000 in this truck that might be worth $20,000. Anyway, so that's kind of what started this thing. So I realized, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna redo this truck. I need a winter beater, right? So I ended up buying, I found an 87 crew cab long bed F250. It was a ZF5 truck. Bought it for $1,500, I think. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use this as a winter beater. So I remember the first night I picked it up, my buddy Jack's like, I'll give you a month before you rip it apart. And good thing I'm not a betting man, because he would have won that one. So I bought the truck. I drove for a little bit. I did brakes, a couple other things. And long story short, I realized it was way too fucking rusty. All the body lines were way off, and I found out the driver's side floor was like rotted out so bad. The floor was actually sitting on the frame. So I got looking on Marketplace, and I found this rust-free 87 body. Grilled the tailgate, core support, everything. I drove down, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's just like 40 miles south of Nashville. I brought everything back, cab on the trailer, bed upside down on this truck, strapped down, doors in the bed, all that. $650, brought it home. So I ripped my other truck apart. I pulled the cab off. I don't know. I started looking at everything, looking at the frame, the axles, the thing freaking dog tracked really bad. I'm like, God, do I really want to freaking put this nice body on this shitty frame? So one thing kind of led to another, and somehow I got this bright idea, like, this thing would be really cool with a 6-liter in it. So I started looking up, doing research and everything, and looked on Powerstroke Nation. There's this guy called Come Chunky that was doing a similar build with the crew cab long bed dually, and he actually just got his truck done recently. Well, trucks are never done, you guys know that, but I just want to give a shout out to him, because he's the one who inspired me to do this swap. So I don't know, I got to looking on Marketplace again, and I found a 2004 F250 crew cab short bed. Kid slid off the road. It was wrecked. He slid off the road and hit a pole, and it smashed the right rear corner of the cab. So the cab was screwed up, the bed was shot, it was all rotted out. So I bought the truck, paid $1,500, drove it home. The back window actually popped out, which was amazing. It didn't break the back window, and it smashed the right rear window on the rear door. So driving this truck home, it's like, I think it was January. It was 20 degrees out. The battery light was on, so I couldn't run the heat because I was afraid to kill the battery, and I didn't want to wear down the Fickum or anything with low voltage. So I was just like hoping and praying I made it home. I did. I got the truck home, and a couple days later I started cutting it apart. So this all came to be. I was looking at the donor, and I was looking at the wheelbases. Like, people ask, like, hey, how'd you fit? How'd you get the idea to put this on an 04 frame? Well, I found out the wheelbase for this truck from 87 for a extended cab long bed is 155 inches. The wheelbase for a crew cab short bed F250 is it's like, I think it's like 156.2 or 0.6 or something. I can't remember, but that's why if you look at this truck, you'll see I have this gap here between the cab and the bed, which most people, they'd probably drive people nuts, but I mean, honestly, I barely even notice it. It doesn't really bother me. The cool thing about it too, I got a pickup camper I haul. So when I strap it down, I got my tie down straps. Like I got tie down loops like up here, and I can run the strap right through the cab and the bed, right to the frame. So it's nice and sturdy there. So anyway, without further ado, let's dive right in. First thing I'll start off with, I guess, is the cooling system. Obviously this is an 87, it's got the 87 core support. I use the 6-liter radiator, 6-liter hoses, everything fits pretty good, 6-liter shroud. Had a couple people ask me about how I fit the Charge air cooler, and that was actually kind of mind-blowing, because I was like thinking, I'm like, how the hell am I going to fit all these coolers in this little core support? So I go to start mocking everything up when I was building the truck, and I was, to my surprise, there's these U-nuts here, and they aligned right up with the 6-liter Charge air cooler. So I didn't have to do anything there, which was awesome. So I start mocking everything up, and I had to make mounts for the bottom. Now, you probably won't be able to see them. I tried putting the camera down here earlier. I don't think you can. Let's try it again. Let me see. I don't think you're going to be able to see these. But basically what I did is I just took 2 pieces of like 1/2-inch wide flat stock, and I did, you know, one like this and one like this. So there's the way the core support, the way the Charge air cooler mounts up, it's just this little U, and it just sits down. So it sits down perfectly on those brackets and works out. If you look in here, you'll see that right there is the ZF6. Well, it's actually a 5R110 trans cooler. I plumbed in with the ZF6 lines. And then obviously you can see the condenser right there. Now, the condenser still needs work. This is, like I said, trucks are never finished. It's freaking zip tied right here. I don't really care. You guys can think whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. The AC works great. But yeah, I still need to make top mounts for the condenser. But right now, it is zip tied in. So you come down here, you look at my elaborate radiator mounts. I made these. I actually, if you look right here, I welded this piece of flat stock in. There are these little holes, like preformed holes that were in the bottom of this core support. And I was looking at them, and the 6.0 radiator mounts actually fit right in the diameter of those holes. So I cut that out of here, and then, you know, using some flat stock, let's see, you can see in there, I kind of bent it down in there, so it's welded up here, here, and I took some angle iron and welded that down there. So that all fits perfect. And then I bolted the 6.0 condenser mounts right there. So there's your cooling system. I guess while we're right here, we'll get into the spring hangers in the frame. This is a leaf spring truck, so it had the spring hangers in the front, obviously, and it still does. I didn't want to make this look like a freaking Bubba Gump truck with some huge aftermarket bumper, so I started brainstorming about how I'm going to fit this bumper here, right? So what I ended up doing, I had some good friends of mine are fabricators. I had them come over and give me a hand with these. Actually, give me a hand. They did all the work. I just paid them. They beefed up the spring hangers for me so I could shorten them up. I took like 3 inches off the front. My cuts aren't perfect. You can see, whatever. So took 3 inches off the front, and then we welded some box steel in the back to kind of give it some support so it wouldn't flex or rock. Because when you cut these, right here on a Super Duty frame is where the 2 front bolts are for your, actually no, there's 3 bolts. So there's 3 bolts here where the tow hooks bolt up, right? So we put this box steel here to kind of give it some rigidity so nothing flexes. That's bolted there. And then we welded a little tab here so it doesn't rock side to side. Then we can get into bumper mounting. Pretty simple. Bricknose bumper, Bricknose brackets. All I did, I took some flat stock. You can see my shitty welds there. I took some flat stock, kind of mocked it up, had the bumper sitting on jack stands, and then I just went and burned it in right there. So behind this, you can see, I'm pretty sure these holes were already in here from the factory. Yeah, I don't think I had to drill them. So behind here is the flat stock where the bumper's mounted up. I just welded nuts on the backside, so all you have to do to take the bumper off is take these bolts out. You can get them with a wrench. Core support mounts. These are like OEM style core support mounts for any OBS truck. I had to obviously drill a couple holes in the frame, bolted them up. They actually worked out perfect. Only thing with the Super Duty, the front of the frame horns on the Super Duty are a little bit wider than the OBS, so when you go to bolt this up, you got to notch out the bolt hole in the core support just a little bit, just to open it up that way. So, but that covers the core support. Let me see if there's anything else I can tell you while I'm down here. I think that covers everything. So, I guess. All right, so here's my ABS module. I made just a couple brackets kind of holding that up. Like I said, nothing's perfect. I really got to redo this. This freaking plastic fender liner was a piece of shit, so I just cut it. I want to move this bracket a little bit further back here and then get another fender liner, like a nicer one. But the truck does have ABS. This is the 04 ABS module, and everything works like it should. Let's see what else is there. Okay, I guess while we're right here, I can get into, all right, so we all know the 6.0 Powerstroke's got that stupid fan stator. I shouldn't say stupid. You know, it's not that much of a pain in the ass to take out as I learned, but, you know, me being like freaking young and dumb when I started this build, I was like, fuck that thing, and I ended up cutting it apart with a Sawzall. So I got rid of that, and like, trying to decide how I'm going to mock my, I'm going to retain my fan clutch wire. So I was actually pretty proud of this. So under this cover, I just cut 2 slits and used a little hose clamp. And everyone's, you know, I was just like looking at it like, that looks like shit, but you put the little cover on, you can't tell. So I was kind of proud of that one. Factory intake box, nothing crazy there. These are the 6.0 charge air tubes. I had to shorten this one like a couple inches. I think like maybe 1.5 inches, 1 inch, half an inch. I can't remember, it was last year. But shorten those, everything fits like it should. I'll come over here and talk about AC. That was another challenge. I was like thinking like, how am I going to make the AC work? We live in Michigan. It's hot here in the summer. It's humid. I got to have AC. So I started brainstorming. I pulled the evaporator box apart, and I was looking at the Super Duty evaporator. I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. So what I ended up doing, I cut out 2 holes here for the lines to fit into, and then I used like this like foam rubber type shit and just stuffed it in there, and then I just covered everything up with RTV and painted it. It looks decent. So I wanted to do that so I didn't have to make any lines. Use the Super Duty accumulator, all the F250 lines, like, you know, the Super Duty lines. I did have to lengthen this hose a little bit so it would reach the accumulator. But that was just, I can't remember the website I ordered the fittings. If I remember it, I'll leave it in the description. But I basically ordered a fitting, chopped the line, and then used this fitting here to lengthen the line a little bit. But that's that. AC works perfect. Heat works great. That's the OBS blower motor, obviously. The Super Duty blower motor resistor actually fits perfect in that box, so I didn't have to chop the harness or anything. And the plug for the blower motor is the same from the Super Duty to the Bricknose. So anything else while I'm here? If you notice, I have 1 hood spring, and that's actually an improvement over last year, because last year I was using a freaking hammer to hold the hood up. I had a 3-pound sledge, and I just set it right here and hold the hood up. So I get sick of doing that. I put the 1 hood spring in. The reason why I didn't have them last year is because I mounted my reservoirs. You can see my power steering reservoir over there, and I had the windshield washer fluid reservoir over here. I still have to come up with a new windshield washer reservoir, but obviously it can't sit here because that's in the way of that spring. So it holds the hood up. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. If I get ambitious, I'll relocate the power steering reservoir and put the other spring in. But I haven't had that ambition yet, considering I just rebuilt the engine. I kind of just want to enjoy the truck. So there's that. And what else is there? The firewall. Now, I'm not exactly totally proud of this. I I don't want to say that. I did like a neat job notching the firewall, but I did the freaking old, what was it? People say measure twice, cut once. I cut twice and measured once, and when I went to put my MBRP 3.5-inch downpipe in, I figured out the hard way that it doesn't fit. So when I had the motor out, I'm not gonna lie, I took a sledgehammer and beat the notch back a little bit. I was gonna redo it, and I was like, screw that. Nobody's gonna see it. I don't really care that much. It's not a show truck. So I just beat the freaking notch back in. But you can see my downpipe. I'm not proud of this. You can see my downpipe's pretty beat from where I was freaking tapping on it with a hammer, and I kind of crushed it in a vise to kind of oval it a little bit so it would fit back there. But it's MBRP 3.5-inch downpipe to 4-inch exhaust. The exhaust dumps out just before the front axle. It's not finished. I need a couple spring hangers. Whatever, it doesn't bother me. So, moving on. Got all my bracketry. Some custom hillbilly shit. I used a freaking spot mirror bracket from a garbage truck back when I used to work on them. I had that lying around, so I bolted that there, in there. And these are the Bricknose washer fluid jug trays. I don't know. There's some crazy bracketry I had from the original truck I cut into a million pieces. Wiring. Now, a lot of people ask, what was the hardest part of the swap? I'd have to say it was definitely the wiring. If you're going to do a swap like this, you better know what you're doing when it comes to reading a wiring diagram, and you better have a lot of freaking patience. Some of you guys might have seen my videos. My spaghetti mess was immense. I had the whole cab ripped apart. I had wiring everywhere. Took me about 3 days of working on it straight to get the brunt of it done, to have everything functioning, and then more time, wrapping everything up and making it look neat. But that was by far the hardest part of the swap. It's all Super Duty wiring, from the engine harness to the chassis harness to the dash harness. It's all tucked in the Bricknose dash there. I'll go over that more later. But while we're under the hood, I'll talk about the coolant reservoir. I was looking for ideas for a coolant reservoir and decided the Super Duty one would look like shit under here. So I came up with this. This is from a Chevy Cruze, like first gen Chevy Cruze. I don't know what years. I told AutoZone I needed one for a 2014. This is a Dorman one. I liked it because it was small, square, it looked neat, and it's a degas bottle. So it ended up working perfect. So I got it plumbed in. You can see my 18 pounds of brass there for the heater core line, which goes over there. Plumbed just like it would be in a 6.0 Super Duty. So that's that. I got a 15-pound GM cap from a 6.0 Express van, and it works perfect. So far, we haven't seen any freaking coolant come out the degas bottle, other than this, is because I overfilled it. So, yay, new head gaskets. Anyway, so there's that. I had a guy I found a guy parting a Cruze out on Marketplace. I had him cut the bracket off the fender, and I made some brackets with flat stock, bolts right to the FICA mount. So there's that. OBS clutch master, obviously OBS clutch pedal actually works perfect with the ZF6, which was a treat to find out. So I kind of guessed on that, and it worked perfect. I guess that's kind of it for under the hood. That rusty Borgeson steering shaft, that thing's mint. Anyway, let's go inside. My freaking lock plate fell off. I had these like nice lock plates that said Ford, and it freaking fell off, and the other side fell off last year, and it kind of pissed me off because they're pretty cool. I don't think I'll be able to find them anymore, but oh well. So here's the inside. This is your basic 87 F250. I got some sweet captain chairs. These things are bitchin', pretty comfy. Thank God I have AC, because if I didn't, they'd be miserable. So let's get in the dash here. So everything works like it should, other than cruise control. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know if I'll ever get it to work, but that's really the only thing that doesn't work. ZF6, obviously. SCT tuner. Got your classic mom Josh is looking at me bucket seats. I remember those from my childhood. My dad had a 93 D250 Dodge. So anytime we'd go up north, he'd be pulling the camper, and me and my sister would be screaming at each other like, "Mom, Josh is looking at me." Anyway, I don't sit back there, so I don't worry about him. But, so here we'll get into it. It's obviously 04 cluster stuffed in there. I got some electrical tape just sitting here so the light doesn't bleed through. I don't have that stupid block off plate that blocks the prindle off. So we got electrical tape. Gauge cluster fits in there pretty good. Unfortunately, with the way the Bricknose dash is, it kind of blocks the some of your indicator lights off, so you kind of got to peek around, which is whatever. It doesn't really bother me. The only thing I really want to do is come up with some gauge cluster glass. I haven't figured anything out for that yet, and I haven't really cared, honestly. It's a project in progress. So let's get down underneath here, look in the dash. I tried to make the wiring as neat as possible. Because I didn't want it to be a freaking spaghetti mess. I'm tired of spaghetti messes. I do work on enough trucks with spaghetti messes for a living, and I didn't want my own truck to be all shitty like that. So 6.0 throttle pedal bolted right up. I was pretty thrilled about that, so that was cool. Have you ever seen an 87 with an OBD2 port? There it is. So yeah, let's fire it up. Turn AC on. Look at that shit. Gotta have that. Alright, so that's about it for the interior. Just your basic 80s truck. I guess we'll get underneath real quick and show you the last, I guess the meat and potatoes of it. So going down under here, hey, look at my frame. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I spray bombed the shit out of this with Rust-Oleum. I really need to come back and hit it with a wire wheel and redo it. It looks like shit, but it's a 50 footer. So yeah, let's get into cab mounts. I used, can't remember, I think 1x3, I don't know, not good at math. Just some box steel, and I sistered it with plates on the front and the rear and welded the frame there. Should hold, I mean, honestly, they hold up pretty good. Haven't had any problems, no creaks or moans or cracks or anything like that. So that's that as far as the cab mounts go. They sat right neat on the cross member for the carry bearing. These are my bed mounts. They're not perfect. Again, I used box steel and cut it at an angle, and that's how my bed's bolted up. But other than that, like looking under here, most of the stuff, I mean, well, pretty much all this stuff is just 04 Super G. So yeah, that's really about it. I can't really think of anything else, but yeah, it's a pretty fun truck. I got a lot of looks, compliments. It's really a blast. So like I said, I did pretty much everything myself other than the spring hangers, and it's been a fun build. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or whatever, just get a hold of me, send me a message. I love hearing from you guys. Not no freaking fancy YouTuber, I don't know nothing about that. This is the first video I've ever made on it, so I'm not a content creator. I don't know how to edit videos. I'm just a freaking average 25-year-old dude building trucks out of my garage. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and happy freaking wrenching. So take care, guys.